Hello everyone and welcome to today's session, and today we'll be discussing the theory related to the chapter human reproduction. So this is the part 8 of the lecture. Before starting this lecture, I just want to give one information that the images, text and other materials used in the presentations are for education purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So what are the objective of today's session? What we will learn, what we will understand in today's session? So first of all, we'll be talking about the parturition. Okay, so within parturition, what we will discuss? So we will understand what is parturition. Okay, we will understand its definition. We'll talk about the gestation period. Okay, this gestation period varies in different animals. We will study the role of oxytocin in the process of childbirth. So oxytocin is very important hormone, and this plays a very important role. It plays a major role in the childbirth. Okay. Now next one, third one is we will identify the fetal ejection reflex and its significance. So we'll talk about the fetal ejection reflex and what is the significance of this fetal ejection reflex. We'll also talk about the lactation, and within lactation what we will discuss. So first of all, we will understand what is lactation. Then we will talk about the importance of the colostrum. So colostrum is the milk produced by the mammary gland. Okay. So what is the importance of the colostrum, or what is the importance of breastfeeding? We will study this. Okay. So we'll also study the significance of breastfeeding. Why doctors they recommend the breastfeeding to the newborn, and what are the advantages of breastfeeding? Okay, what is the composition of this colostrum? Clear? Okay, so today we'll be talking about the parturition and lactation. So let's begin with the lecture. So what is parturition? Parturition is basically childbirth. Okay, now the average duration of human pregnancy. So if we talk about human females, in females the pregnancy or the gestation period is about 9 months. Okay, so this pregnancy is about 9 months, and this is known as the gestation period. During the gestation period, what is happening? The fetus is developing. Okay, we studied about the various stages of the embryo development. Okay, so we studied that during the or at the end of the first month, the heart is formed. Okay, then in the second month, limbs and digits are formed. Clear? And in the 5th month, you can hear the mother can feel the movement of the baby. Okay, then in the 9 months, in the end of the 9 months, the fetus is completely developed. Okay, so the pregnancy in human females, it is for 9 months. More precisely, pregnancy lasts approximately 280 days or 40 weeks from the last menstrual cycle. So what happens when the woman is pregnant? Okay, then there is no menstrual cycle. Why there is no menstrual cycle? Okay, what is the reason that the menstrual cycle stops during the pregnancy? So everything is related to the changes in the hormones. Okay, so progesterone level is always high during the pregnancy. So there are certain hormones also that maintain the corpus luteum. this corpus luteum keeps on synthesizing the hormone. Which hormone is synthesized by corpus luteum? So progesterone, this is continuously being secreted by the corpus luteum. Okay, progesterone levels are always high during pregnancy, and this progesterone it maintains the thickness of the endometrium. Okay, this endometrium thickness is very important to maintain the pregnancy. Okay, so during the pregnancy there is no menstrual cycle because endometrium is quite thick. This thick endometrium is required for the implantation. What was implantation? When the blastocyst attaches to the endometrium. Okay, if the endometrium is thick, means there will be no breaking of the endometrium, because endometrium breaks when it becomes very thin, then it breaks. But here, in the presence of progesterone, the endometrium is quite thick and there is no menstruation. So pregnancies for 9 months means 280 days or 40 weeks. Now, vigorous contraction of the uterus at the end of the pregnancy. So vigorous contractions occurs in the uterus at the end of the pregnancy, and this causes expulsion or delivery of the fetus. Now these contractions become progressively stronger and more frequent as the labor progresses. So uterus, okay, the uterus or the uterine wall, it is made up of 3 layers. Okay, the outermost layer is the perimetrium, which is membranous. Okay, then, okay, inner to perimetrium is the myometrium. So myometrium is made up of smooth muscles, and then the innermost layer is the endometrium. So this myometrium, in this myometrium, contraction occurs. Okay, because obviously it is made up of smooth muscles. In the smooth muscles, contraction occurs. Okay, and this contraction is further stimulated by a hormone known as oxytocin. Okay, so vigorous contraction of the uterus occurs at the end of the pregnancy, and this causes expulsion or delivery of the fetus. So what happens due to these contractions? The fetus is pushed, okay, out through the vagina or through the birth canal. Okay, birth canal is made up of what? Birth canal consists of the vagina as well as the cervical canal. So the fetus is pushed due to these contractions. It is pushed out of the body. Okay, now clear? So these contractions become progressively stronger and more frequent as the labor progresses. So these contractions slowly become stronger and stronger. Okay, we will study how these contractions become stronger and stronger in our upcoming slides now. Now this process of delivery of the fetus is known as childbirth, is known as the parturition. So the delivery of the fully developed fetus, or you can say childbirth, so this has been given a scientific name known as parturition. So parturition basically means childbirth or delivery of the fetus, simply you can say. So parturition is a scientific term. So here you can see in this chapter there are a lot of scientific terms, scientific words. Okay, there is fertilization like insemination, then gametogenesis. Okay, clear? Then morula, blastocyst, then parturition, lactation, fertilization. There are a lot of terms here. You should know the definition of all of these terms. So parturition is what? It is the childbirth. Now parturition is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism. Okay, so neuro means nervous system is involved. Endocrine means endocrine system, means hormones are involved. Okay, so parturition is a complex neuroendocrine as well as endocrine mechanism, means it is controlled by the nervous system also and by the hormones also. This endocrine gland, they secrete the hormones. Okay, clear? So this involves the coordination of various hormones, including estrogen, progesterone, prostaglandins, and relaxin as well, working together to facilitate the birth. So estrogen and progesterones, they maintain the pregnancy, they maintain the uterine wall. Okay, relaxin, what does relaxin do? It relaxes the ligaments and the muscles, it widens the cervix, and it prepares for the childbirth. Clear? Now the signals for parturition originate from fully developed fetus and the placenta, which induce mild uterine contraction called the fetal ejection reflex. So this is very important point here. Question can come from here. So signal for the childbirth, the delivery of the fetus. These signals originate from where? These originate from the fully developed fetus and the placenta. Okay. So this signals from the fetus as well as placenta. This will stimulate, this will induce mild contractions. So initially mild contractions occur in the uterus. Okay, so these are mild uterine contractions in the myometrium, and this is known as the fetal ejection reflex. So question can come from here. In fetal ejection reflex, the signal originate from where? So what will be the answer? That fetal ejection reflex. Okay, what is fetal ejection reflex? They can ask you that. Or what happens during the fetal ejection reflex? Or from where does the signals come for the fetal ejection reflex? So signals are coming from the fully developed fetus as well as the placenta. And these signals induce mild contractions in the uterus. And this mild contraction in the uterus, it is called fetal ejection reflex. And the fetus also produces cortisol, which plays a crucial role in initiating the labor process as well. Okay. Now this triggers release of the oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. Now what is happening? First of all, signals for release from the fully developed fetus and the placenta. Okay, this will induce mild contractions. Now how stronger and stronger contractions are created? Initially mild contractions are created, but these mild uterine contractions are not enough for expulsion of the fetus. You need strong contractions. So what is happening now? These mild contractions trigger release of oxytocin from the maternal pituitary gland. So oxytocin is a hormone. This is being released by the pituitary gland, which is an endocrine gland. Okay. So question can come here. What is triggering the release of oxygen? So these mild contractions, which are known as fetal ejection reflex, these mild contractions trigger the release of the oxytocin. And oxytocin released from where? From the mother's pituitary gland, maternal pituitary. So you can see initially the signals were generated by the fetus and the placenta. Okay, but these signals are, you can say, leading to the release of oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. So you can see such a coordination is happening, such a nice coordination is happening here between the fetus and the mother as well. Now oxytocin is often called as the birth hormone. Okay, why it is called birth hormone? As, or you can say because, it intensifies the uterine contractions and help in the cervical dilation. So oxytocin is known as the birth hormone because it will intensify these uterine contraction. Initially uterine contractions were mild. So this oxytocin hormone, this will intensify the uterine contraction. So slowly this contraction will become more intense. Okay, and it will lead to the expulsion of the fetus through the birth canal or through the vagina. Now oxytocin acts on the uterine muscles, especially which one? The smooth muscles present in the myometrium, and causes stronger uterine contractions, which in turn stimulates further secretion of the oxytocin. So now you can see oxytocin is causing the release of more oxytocin. How? So oxytocin, it is causing stronger uterine contraction, and these contractions further stimulate the release of more oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. Now the level of oxytocin is becoming high. Oxytocin is being continuously released now. Okay, more and more oxytocin is being released. Okay, and this is intensifying the uterine contractions. Now the stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and the oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in stronger and stronger contraction. Okay, now this uterine contraction is causing the release of oxytocin. Okay, and this results in stronger and stronger uterine contractions. This positive feedback mechanism ensures a steady increase in the contraction intensity. So you can see this is a positive feedback. You can say the contractions in the uterus is leading to the release of the oxytocin. So more contractions, more oxytocin is released. So this is positive feedback mechanism. Okay, when one factor is leading to the increase in the other factor. When one factor decreases the other factor, that is negative feedback mechanism. Here this is a positive feedback mechanism. And this mechanism ensures a steady increase in the contraction intensity. So okay, so you can see everything is so nicely being coordinated and controlled. So this leads to expulsion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal. And this process is known as parturition, which is known as simply childbirth. So baby is expelled out of the uterus through the birth canal. Birth canal is made up of vagina and the cervical canal. Okay, this process is known as parturition, means childbirth. Soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. Clear? So what is happening here? When the infant is delivered now, the placenta is also expelled out of the uterus. So there is no need of placenta now. What was the function of placenta? It supplies oxygen, it supplies nutrients to the developing fetus. It also carries away the carbon dioxide and the waste materials produced by the developing fetus. So placenta is no more required and is expelled out of the uterus. Hormone oxytocin also promotes milk production and maternal bonding behavior as well. Okay, these are some other roles of oxytocin. Major role here is to stimulate the uterine contractions. Entire process is carefully monitored by healthcare providers to ensure safety for both mother and the baby. So you can say the childbirth should be done under the supervision of the doctors, under the supervision of the healthcare providers. So entire process of childbirth should be monitored by the healthcare providers to ensure safety of both mother and the baby, because there can be a lot of blood loss. and this can lead to death of the mother as well. Okay, sometimes the child can also die. Now there is one question here. What do you think the doctors inject to induce the delivery? To induce the delivery of the fetus, to induce the childbirth, also known as parturition. So here is the answer to this question. To induce labor, doctors typically use pitocin. What is pitocin? It is synthetic oxytocin or prostaglandins. Now, pitocin is the most common medication used for labor induction. Now, it's a synthetic version of the natural hormone oxytocin, which causes the uterine contractions. So, pitocin, this is nothing but this is synthetic oxin, not natural, it is synthetic. This is usually administered through IV drip, means intravenous drip, and the dosage can be adjusted as needed. So these doctors, they use pitocin to induce the uterine contraction. It is uterine, when the contractions you can say are induced, this is known as the labor. So this is the medicine used for labor induction. Okay, sometimes different methods might be used in combination, such as prostaglandin gel or inserts to help soften the cervix before pitocin administration. Clear? Okay, this was the end of parturition. Now let's start with the another topic, lactation. So lactation is basically, it is milk production by the mammary glands. The mammary gland, they have special kind of cells known as the alveoli cells. These alveoli cells, they secrete the milk, and then this milk is stored in the ducts of the alveoli, you can say cells. Okay. Finally, the milk reaches the lactiferous duct, and then the milk is sucked out by the baby through the nipples. Okay. Now, mammary glands of the female undergo differentiation during the pregnancy and start producing milk towards the end of the pregnancy by the process called lactation. So the milk production only occurs during the pregnancy. Why this happens? Because the mammary gland of the female, they undergo differentiation during the pregnancy and they start producing the milk. Okay, which cells are producing milk? Alveoli cells. Milk is produced at the end of the pregnancy, towards the end of the pregnancy, and this process is known as lactation. This helps the mother in feeding the newborn. So mother can feed the newborn because newborn need only liquid food. No solid food is given initially to the newborn. Okay, liquid food is given. So colostrum is known as the mother's milk. So this colostrum is it is yellow and it is quite thick. Okay. And it consists of a lot of nutrients as well. It consists of antibody also, IgA. Okay. It consists of vitamin A, vitamin B12, vitamin K as well. And of course, antibody known as the immunoglobulin A. So you can see colostrum is giving passive immunity to the newborn because directly the antibodies produced by the mother, they are transferred into the newborn through the milk. Okay, so this antibodies gives protection to the newborn. Now milk produced during the initial few days of lactations are called the colostrum. So remember, milk produced during the initial days only. Milk produced during the initial day of lactation, this is known as the colostrum, which is quite yellow and thick. And this contains antibodies absolutely essential to develop resistance for the newborn babies. Which antibody? Immunoglobulin A is present in the colostrum. Okay, so colostrum is the milk produced, you have to write, only in the initial days of lactation. Okay, clear? And the composition of this milk, mother's milk, also changes to meet the demands of the fetus. So initially you can say these nutrients and vitamins, they are more, and then later on, after few days, you can say the mother's milk is rich in fats as well. Initially it is not that rich in fats, but after few days it becomes rich in fat as well. Okay, it is rich in fat as well as calories. So breastfeeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing up the healthy babies. Obviously the reasons are that it is very nutritious and consists of vitamins also, such as vitamin A, B12 and K. It consists of the antibodies also. These antibodies can provide resistance to, or it can provide protection against many pathogens. And the production of milk is influenced by the hormones. So milk production is also influenced by the hormones. What are these hormones? Prolactin as well as the oxytocin also. So majorly prolactin initiates the milk production. But oxytocin can also, you can say, contribute in the production of the milk. Okay. So these hormones, prolactin and oxytocin, these are released during the pregnancy and after the childbirth as well. Clear? So prolactin and oxytocin, they are very important here. Mammary glands are, what are these mammary glands actually? They are modified sweat glands that develop extensively during puberty under the influence of estrogen hormones. Okay, the mammary glands, what are they? They are nothing but they are modified sweat glands. Even males also have mammary glands, but they are not developed. In females, the mammary glands are developed and they are nothing but they are modified sweat glands only. And these mammary glands, they develop during the puberty only in the females. So it is a kind of secondary sexual characteristic. Clear? The female undergoes a lot of morphological as well as physiological changes. Okay, one such a secondary sexual character is mammary gland, development of mammary gland. And this mammary gland development is under the influence of estrogen hormones. So estrogen is involved in the mammary gland development. Now breast milk contains perfect balance of nutrients, including the proteins, fats, carbohydrates and vitamins essential for the infant growth. So this breast milk is very nutritious. It has all the proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins which are essential for the infant growth. That's why doctor recommends the breastfeeding. Colostrum, this is rich in immunoglobulin A, IgA, which helps protect the baby's digestive system from harmful bacteria and the viruses. So this is a kind of passive immunity. This is example of passive immunity. The antibodies, ready-made antibodies are being transferred to the newborn through the mother's milk. So these antibodies, okay, immunoglobulin A, these protect the baby's digestive system from harmful bacteria as well as the viruses. The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of the life. First 6 months. Okay, so the mother have to mandatory feed the newborn for at least for 6 months. First 6 months is very important for the health of the child. And slowly the composition of the milk also changes. Initially the milk is rich in, you can say, vitamins and antibodies. Okay, and then the composition changes. Now the milk is higher in fats and calories. So after few days only, so after 5 to 6 days, the composition of the milk also changes. Okay, now breast milk composition changes over time to meet the growing baby's nutritional needs. This we have already discussed. Now, breast milk contains growth factors that support the development of the baby's immune system and organs as well. So, the composition of the mother's milk is changing. Okay. Mother's milk also contains the growth factors as well. And these growth factors support the development of the baby's immune system as well as the organs. Now, regular breastfeeding establishes a natural feedback system that helps regulate milk production according to the baby's need. Okay, so breastfeeding, why the breastfeeding you can say is recommended also. First of all, it provides nutrition and protection to the newborn, and also if the mother is regularly breastfeeding, so this establishes a natural feedback system. Okay, and this helps to regulate the milk production according to the baby's need. Okay, we have already discussed that what happens after implantation. The placenta is formed, and the placenta consists of two kinds of tissues, trophoblast as well as the placenta consists of two kinds of tissues, okay, fetal tissue and the uterine tissue, okay, which is the maternal tissue. And we have studied the role of the placenta also. And placenta is connected to the embryo through the umbilical cord. Okay, clear? So after implantation, chorionic villi develop on the trophoblast, and this chorionic villi interdigitate with the uterine tissue to form the placenta. Placenta is connected to the embryo via the umbilical cord. Now the placental development begins around 8 to 9 post-fertilization. Post-fertilization means after fertilization. Okay, with complete formation by week 13 of the pregnancy. So this is some additional information that you should know. So placenta development occurs after the pregnancy. Placenta serves multiple functions. We have already discussed: facilitate oxygen and nutrient supply, removes waste materials, and acts as endocrine you can say organ also. So it is placenta acts as an endocrine tissue also, and it secretes hormones. What hormones are released by placenta? HCG, HPL, estrogen as well as the progesterone. So these hormones are released during the pregnancy. Okay. Now placenta also provides immunological protection to developing fetus and helps regulate the maternal metabolism as well. Clear? How does it provide immunological protection? Okay, because through placenta antibody IgG can pass. This is also a kind of passive immunization. Okay, because ready-made antibodies IgG can pass through the placenta and it can reach the newborn. Placenta also provides, or it acts as a protective barrier because it doesn't allow the pathogens to pass through it. Okay, during pregnancy, we have studied that what happens, there is an increase in the, you can say, concentration of the hormones. So the concentration of these hormones, they increase several folds. Okay, so relaxin is also released by the ovaries. Okay, cortisol, the level of other hormones also like cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, these also increases. And all of these hormones, they support the fetal growth. Okay. And the pregnancy, they also help in the pregnancy maintenance. They also help to regulate the metabolism, maternal or mother's metabolism as well. Human chorionic gonadotrophin, this is HCG, this is released by the placenta. Okay. So what were the hormones that were released only during pregnancy? These were HCG, HPL, and then relaxin. So human chorionic gonadotrophin peaks around weeks 8 to 10 of the pregnancy and is responsible for maintaining corpus luteum in early pregnancy and is also involved in morning sickness symptoms as well. Okay, if the corpus luteum is maintained, it will continuously synthesize progesterone, and progesterone is very important for maintaining the pregnancy because progesterone maintains the thickness of the endometrium. Okay, placenta also acts as a barrier because it allows the passage of the, you can say, useful substances, but it will not allow the passage of the, you can say, harmful substances, toxic substances, and the pathogens as well. Okay, so it allows the beneficial substances to pass through, like vitamins, minerals, and antibodies. Which antibody? IgG. Okay, it doesn't allow the harmful substances to pass through, like alcohol, nicotine, some medications, and certain pathogens. Okay, but AIDS virus, HIV can pass through. So sometimes it can pass through the placenta and it can affect the developing fetus as well. Now let's have a look at the function of these hormones. Okay, so we will quickly talk about the functions of these hormones. HCG, which is human chorionic gonadotrophin, maintains corpus luteum during early pregnancy. Okay, so corpus luteum secretes the hormone progesterone, and this progesterone helps to maintain the pregnancy by maintaining the thickness of the endometrium. Suppose progesterone production promotes fetal growth, used as a pregnancy test marker. So HCG is used as a marker for pregnancy. So if the levels of HCG is high, then obviously you can say that the female is pregnant, because this hormone is only secreted by the placenta. So if the placenta is formed, then obviously the mother will be pregnant. Human placental lactation promotes the fetal growth. This hormone is also released by placenta. It regulates maternal metabolism, prepares breast for the lactation as well. Then relaxin softens and relaxes the pelvic ligaments, inhibits the uterine contractions as well. Okay, so this relaxin prepares for the childbirth by softening and relaxing the pelvic muscles, by widening the cervix. So it helps to prepare for the childbirth. Okay, now let's quickly discuss the fetal development. Okay, so fetal development follows a specific timeline. Okay, now first is the early stage, 0 to 2 weeks. So what is happening in the 0 to 2 weeks? So blastocyst formation occurs. After the fertilization, zygote is formed. From the zygote, morula is formed. From the morula, the blastocyst is formed. Okay, so this is after fertilization, when the zygote is formed. Okay. So okay, so in 0 to 2 weeks, blastocyst is formed. Then there is the implantation of the blastocyst in the uterine wall. Then what will happen? The inner cell mass, which is present in the blastocyst, this inner cell mass will form the 3 germ layers. What are these 3 germ layers? Ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm. Okay, these germ layers give rise to all the tissues and the organs. Now, okay, 1 month. What is happening at the end of the 1 month? Means from week 3 to 4. Heart begins beating. So heart is formed. And at the end of the first month, the heart starts pumping also. It starts beating and it starts pumping the blood. Means the blood circulation starts. Okay, basic facial features also appear. By the end of the second month, means week 5 to 8, arms, legs, and arms and legs develop. So limbs and digits they develop, or you can say arms and legs develop. Fingers, toes are also formed. Brain development accelerates, and external genitalia begin forming. Now, what is happening in the 3rd month? Organs are present, so major organs are formed. External genitalia is distinct now. Fingernails develop. Fetus can make movements now, but these movements can only be felt in the 5th month. In the 5th month, what is happening means week 17 to 20. Mother can feel the movement now. Feel the movement of the fetus. Okay, hair patterns emerge. Sleep cycle begins. Now, gender is clearly visible here, whether it is female or male. In 6 months, what is happening? Yani means from week 21 to 24. Fingerprints form. Eye fullies develop. Respond to the sounds as well. What is happening at the end of the 9 months? Week 37 to 40. The fetus is completely developed, so there is full term development. Head usually moves down. Lungs mature. And fetus is ready for birth. Now let's summarize this entire lecture now. Now after 9 months of pregnancy, the fully developed fetus is ready for delivery. Okay, delivery of the fetus means childbirth is known as parturition. The process of childbirth is called parturition, which is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism involving hormones such as cortisol, estrogen, oxytocin. Okay, oxytocin is known as a birth hormone also. Mammary gland differentiate during the pregnancy and secrete milk after the childbirth. So milk is released after the childbirth. Okay. The newborn baby is fed by the mother's milk, and this is known as lactation during the initial few months of the growth. So lactation is nothing but production of milk, okay, by the mammary gland. Now this was the end of the theory now. Now we'll discuss the DPP, which is related to this topic. Okay. Now let's begin with the first question now. Which hormone is responsible for inducing stronger uterine contractions during the parturition? So they are asking about the name of the hormone which induces the uterine contractions during parturition. So these contractions this contraction leads to the expulsion of the baby out of the female body through the vagina. Okay. So what is the name of this hormone which is inducing these contractions? Or which hormone is known as the birth hormone? So what are the options here? Progesterone, estrogen, oxytocin, and prolactin. What will be the correct answer? Okay, so let's have a look at the answer. Answer will be option number C, oxytocin. Oxytocin is also known as the birth hormone. This oxytocin induces stronger uterine contractions during the parturition. Okay. Now, what triggers the release of oxytocin to initiate the parturition? Okay, so what are the options? Fetal ejection reflex, placental progesterone, cholesterol production, and differentiation of the mammary gland. Okay, so what is triggering the release of oxytocin to initiate the childbirth, which is also known as the parturition? Okay, here the correct answer will be option number A, which is the fetal ejection reflex. So signals for the fetal ejection reflex, it comes from the fully developed fetus as well as the placenta. Okay, so these signals, they induce mild contractions in the uterus, and this is known as the fetal ejection reflex, and this fetal ejection reflex then stimulates the release of the oxytocin from the maternal pituitary. Okay, so option number A is the correct answer here. Then which of the following is essential for developing resistance in the newborn? Okay, or which of the following is essential for developing immunity in the newborn? Newborns, they don't have, you can say the immune cells, okay, to fight the pathogens, so their immunity is quite weak. They are prone to many infections. So which of the following is essential for developing resistance in the newborns? Prolactin, colostrum, placental lactogen, or estrogen? What will the correct answer here? Okay, the correct answer here will be what? The correct answer here will be colostrum. So colostrum, which is the mother's milk. So this is milk produced in the initial days. Okay, it is yellow, it is quite thick, and it consists of vitamins such as vitamin A. It consists of vitamin B12, it consists of vitamin K. Okay, it also consists of antibodies. What are antibodies? They are immunoglobulins. So it consists of immunoglobulin A, which provide resistance to the pathogens. It provides immunity in the newborn. Answer will be option number B, colostrum. Then what is expelled from the uterus immediately after the baby during the parturition? Okay. So which structure is expelled from the uterus immediately after the baby is born? Okay, after the childbirth, you can say. What are the options? Cervix, placenta, amniotic sac, or umbilical cord? Here the correct answer will be option number B, placenta is expelled from the uterus immediately after the baby is born. Okay, means after the childbirth. Now next, which process involves the differentiation of mammary glands and milk production towards the end of the pregnancy? Okay, gestation, lactation, implantation, or ovulation? What will be the correct answer here? Okay, here the correct answer will be option number B, lactation. Lactation is the milk production by the mammary glands. So mammary gland, they get differentiated. Okay, during the pregnancy. Okay, after the childbirth, you can say. Okay, they get differentiated and they start producing milk. This milk is produced by the alveoli cells. Okay, so differentiation of mammary glands lead to milk production. Okay, this happens after the childbirth. So we have discussed all the questions here. Clear? So all our questions are correct. Okay, so this is the end of the session now. I hope the session was quite knowledgeable for you. Thank you very much for listening. We will meet you in the next session.